Today we are going to be building a bioactive vivarium for a crested gecko, taking it from looking like this to something like this. And at the end, you guys will get to choose one of my geckos will be the lucky winner for this enclosure. But first, we have to build it. We start by clearing off an area to work. Sorry Tim, this build isn't for you and you're going to have to vacate the premises. Now this is one of my newer enclosures, so not much cleaning needs to be gone. However, the soil is poo-poo. It's not good, so it'll have to go. Look at that enclosure, so clean I could eat off of it, but I won't because I am a human man and definitely not 5 geckos in a headband controlling a human body to spread Tokay propaganda. Now that the enclosure is clean, we can move it down and start with the background. I first decide that hardscape materials are what I want to go with for the background to really make it pop, and then of course we begin making it. The next day, the background is cured and we're ready to move on. I love how this method works for backgrounds. However, the only thing I'm thinking I'm going to change is putting the background on first and then inserting the hardscape so they don't get really swallowed up while it's curing. Of course, we don't want anything to go to waste here, so we'll take the excess cocoa fiber and put it back in the bin to use for later for other backgrounds. I definitely learned my lesson from the last build, so we're going to actually set this enclosure up first where it will stay before adding the rest of what we need. Now we can finally start building this out. First up, the drainage layer. Without this, you'll end up with soggy soil that will be grounds for bacteria buildup, which will then lead to root rot and a smelly cage, and we definitely don't want that. For this one, I used the last of my crushed marble and then some charcoal, just because I saw some other YouTuber do that. I don't know why they did it. Remember boys, I'm a follower, not a leader. Now this build is actually sponsored by Josh's Frogs. They were kind enough to send us a bag of their personal substrate mix and then multiple plants that we will be using in this build. Make sure to check them out if you're interested. I'm going to have the link below to their site down in the description. Once the substrate is in, we add some hardscapes into this build. This includes some branches I sourced from outside and some driftwood. I end up adding some more stuff towards the end when I feel like it's a little too empty, but for now this is all I've added in the build. Time for the plants. These were all the ones Josh's Frogs was kind enough to send us. I also included a more mature pothos plant just to add some depth in this build, and then of course it wouldn't be a Dakota Blue Exotics build without some moss. Now I first try a couple different variations on where I want everything to sit, and once I get a good layout on how I want it, I'll begin to plant everything into the soil. These bromeliads were a little bit tricky. I once again did the wrapped up sphagnum moss method. I know there's better methods out there and I really gotta do them because this was really hard to actually get it to stay still. We'll definitely be switching this method in the future when we do more air plants into backgrounds. After a quick misting for the plants, we move on to the botanicals. For this, I'm once again using my own leaves, because why would I pay for pretty leaves when I have Old Reliable right here? Now I see this as a metaphor for life. While you have your loving wife at home, there will always be that e-girl trying to get you to subscribe to her OnlyFans, and while she may be pretty, that costs money. Money you could be using for more moss for your bioactive enclosures. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is, what's better, looking at pretty girls on a phone screen or looking at bioactive vibs for your geckos? Make the right choice, go to the gym, build cages like a real man. And if you happen to be that e-girl, stop DMing me to look at your OnlyFans. I build cages for geckos. I'm broke. What was I talking? Oh yeah, we also have some springtails and isopods. Now time for the moss cult's favorite part, the moss. We start with some pillow moss on the ground and then move to some fern moss and moss slurry for the background. And now honestly, I really do enjoy the slurry. Although it doesn't look great at first, it really turns into some great looking moss as long as you care for it for the first month correctly. Few days have now passed and this enclosure is still looking great, which means it is finally time to pick the lucky winner of who is going to live in this bioactive vivarium. So with that being said, let's meet our contestants. Contestant number 1 is going to be a nice red little dude. I don't really know what he is. Someone gave him to me because they said I inspired them to breed, so I got a free gecko, but nice looking guy altogether. Contestant number 2 is going to be one from First Class Geckos, a really nice lily white that once again was just given to me. A lot of people are giving me geckos for some reason. Contestant number 3 is a really nice dark tiger super down. I really like this one. Super dark, really nice look to him, and all in all, great gecko. Contestant number 4 is going to be the best lily white that I personally made. Really nice high white. You see that's going straight to the dorsal. I think a really white gecko would look good in the cage, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy. And then last but not least, contestant number 5 is the best Super Dalmatian I've made. Not as nice dark tiger, but when it comes to spots, well, it has it. Let me know in the comment section which contestant you would like to see win this enclosure. A huge shout out once again to Josh's Frogs. I'll have their link down in the description, and of course a shout out to our Patreon members for making builds like this possible. Now if you're new here and would like to see more builds like this, I highly recommend to subscribe to the channel and leave a like while you're down there. Now before you leave here are some other builds that we've recently done for Project Jungle. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.